Hello, this is Matt from the Vortex.
And this is Taylor from the Vortex.
Hello, Taylor.
Hello, Matt.
Hello, audience.
Hello, and we are so sorry.
It might have been a little bit of time.
It's been a while.
It's been a while.
This episode we were talking about the name of the Doctor.
The name of the Doctor.
It's
Keith.
Ted.
Keith. It is Keith who. He's from Chinatown. Keith
Yes.
who. Those jokes never get old.
No, they don't. This episode aired probably like 3 weeks ago. And we're a little behind.
Probably might even be 4 by the time you're listening to this.
Yeah,
we're not entirely sure.
We got busy, but
Future Matt apologizes for Dropbox not working properly every night.
I think it's going to be a good one though, because there's a lot to talk about, and hopefully we're not the last to talk about it.
Well, we'd hope.
Oh yeah,
but that's okay. It's okay if we are.
Yeah. We hope that we have some original ideas that maybe somebody else hasn't come up with yet.
Correct.
It's,
I just hope they're not, my normal stupid ideas that no one's come up with yet.
Yeah.
You mean it's his uncle?
Yeah.
No.
His name is Trenton.
Trenton?
I don't know.
Ronald Reagan, the actor.
The actor. All right. So, real quick, the recap of the episode. It's pretty crazy, but Clara sort of gets this message from Madame Vastra and Jenny, and they Strax, whatever. They meet in this sort of mind dreamatorium type room, and they sort of have this conference, and River's there, and this is a River who is after the library, so she can still, I guess, be there.
She can still participate.
Yes, participate in through her mind and be there, even though she's in the database in the library or whatever. So we have the Great Intelligence again and the Whispermen, and they're luring the Doctor, and they end up kidnapping Vastra and Jenny and Strax, and bring them to the to Trenzalore, which is this place where the Doctor never go. We come to find out that Trenzalore is where his grave. That's where he's dead, and
right.
And the grave is the tombstone is the TARDIS, which is leaking the bigger on the inside energy out, and so it's humongous. And he goes inside, and basically River sort of follows them along as they go. And Clara is talking to River, or River's talking to Clara, sort of, because they're connected through this from the Dreamatorium. Still, I guess, is what she explains it. And then, come to find out, you get to, it's not his body, but it's his, basically his history is this, white light, this kind of weird pillar of white light. That's
with little veins going out in all sorts of different directions.
Yeah, it's like it's his future, it's his past, it's his whole life right there. And the Great Intelligence goes inside of it and basically sends echoes of himself throughout the Doctor's life to sort of try to ruin it. And so then what Clara does to save him, and this sort of starts killing him. So what Clara does is she goes in there to save him, and she sort of gets all these echoes of herself throughout the Doctor's life, which is the big solution to the mystery. So hooray there.
Right.
And then we find out that this is sort of the end of River, kind of. Maybe, there's always a big question mark at the end with any River story, right. But this one is seems like it was the last time that she was going to see him just because their time, the time's running out with them.
Mm-hmm.
And so they had this moment, and it turns out he could hear her the whole time. And then at the very end, he goes in to his light
to save
Clara. And he I guess he does. They never really explain what happens at the very end, but I guess he gets her, and they're leaving or whatever. And Clara and the doctor see this. I guess it's this. We'll talk about it, but it's this other version of the doctor. It's John Hurt as the doctor,
right?
And it's pretty crazy. So we're gonna talk about that, but let's save that for the end since we got that's gonna be a big one. So first of all, I don't want to toot my own horn here, but I was right about Clara. I was
right.
I was really close. My theory was that it was Clara the whole time, and that she was doing these things, but it wasn't actually Clara. But it was she'd sent these echoes of herself through to sort of help save the Doctor from the Great Intelligence. Mm-hmm. So I was really close. So I was pretty excited about that.
You were very close. You almost hit that one on the button. That was good.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what. This episode excites me in like 1,000 different ways, but I feel like it lets me down in a few too.
How so?
And okay. So, two of the things that I've come to expect, is a lot of mystery and a lot of setup, and then the reveal for the setup. Moffat has a way of playing stuff out over seasons. So, the prophecy that's given to him on the fields of Trenzalore at the fall of the 11th, a question will be asked, and the Silents are an organization that has explained to the audience and to the Doctor that they don't want the Doctor to say anything. They don't want his name revealed. They don't want the doors, I guess, to open. Mm-hmm. Silence must fall. They want to kill him before he gets to Trenzalore. I was wrong. I had to watch this episode a couple times. They do say that Trenzalore is the site of his final battle.
Mm-hmm.
That he dies there. That is his, not just where he dies, but that's the last battle he commits to. And it was beneath him, not like the Time War or anything. So maybe the reference is speaking about that battle and not
this situation.
Correct.
Right.
Maybe. So I feel like we had all this potential for this to be the prophecy about Trenzalore, but maybe this isn't. Maybe this is just sort of a sneak peek at it. Mm-hmm. This is going to happen to the Doctor in the future, and the Silents don't want him to get there.
Right. Yeah.
But it puts the Great Intelligence in a weird position, because the Great Intelligence wants the Doctor to answer that question. He wants the doors open. He wants to get inside. So is it possible the Great Intelligence has nothing to do with the Silents? So I feel like we're still lacking all of these answers.
Right.
So for me, this was a big letdown. I was expecting a lot more answers to be given, a lot more to be thrown at us.
Yeah.
And it
that
wasn't.
Makes sense. Yeah, and basically it was just the Great Intelligence wanted revenge for all the times that the Doctor had foiled him. Mm-hmm. Basically, that was the whole thing. So yeah, no, I get that. I think there's more to come. I think that with the 50th coming up, especially this whole thing with John Hurt, and then it's getting close to the end of Matt Smith. So I think they're going to sort of maybe revisit this again. Maybe this isn't the last we've seen of Trenzalore. Who knows? But
well, maybe the explanation isn't for Matt Smith's time. Maybe the explanation, because Moffat's staying on once Matt Smith leaves, so maybe the explanation comes with the next Doctor. Maybe he's playing a longer game than we realized.
Yeah, that is possible. I think one thing that I don't like about it is that Moffat is putting not an end date, but like an ending story of the Doctor entirely. Mm-hmm. That's like, I don't know. It just seems to me like, I mean, I guess you could have, an infinite not infinite, but like a really long time in between that and the end. But it's like, why do you're not going to be the executive producer forever of the show. Right. Why do you get to decide how the story ends? You know what I mean?
Sure.
Not really fair, I don't think.
that is a little. I'll use the word. It's a little pompous.
Yeah. He's British,
but at the
so
same
it's pompous, yeah.
Right. But it's pompous in circumstance.
Yes.
But at the same time, if any of you out there laughed at that joke, thank you.
You're welcome.
It's. But I see, at the same time, Moffat's real big on wibbly wobbly timey-wimey. Time can be rewritten. So maybe that's the thing. Maybe what we're looking at is he's giving. This could be the end. This is a really good explanation. But what if it isn't? What if the Doctor can avoid Trenzalore? What if all of that doesn't have to happen? Then suddenly everything Moffat's written doesn't have to make sense.
Right. Yeah.
I love this episode. I loved the dreaming room. I got creeped out with Jenny when she was like, I left the door open. Someone's got inside. I'm afraid I've
been murdered. Me. Oh, that was that. I was like, no! Like I screamed, no!
Yeah. Oh. It was just intense.
Yeah.
I don't know what to think of River. She still holds these secrets. Again, things I thought were going to be explained in this episode.
Yeah.
How does River know his name? He never tells her.
He must have told her. Either he must have told her before and we never get to see it, that's one thing about River is like most of her stuff is off screen.
Well, a lot of Matt Smith's stuff is off screen. They're always referencing adventures that we will never see. At least with David Tennant and with Chris Eccleston, it felt a little bit more like you were watching all of it.
Yeah, it was more linear. It was like not just necessarily linear, but you got to see. Yeah, it was like right after they did this, then they went and did this.
Right. And so maybe Tennant and Rose ran off and did a bunch of other adventures in the second season, but you felt like you were a part of all the major moments, that nothing was being left out.
Right. And I feel like him telling her name is a major moment.
I feel like that's the most important thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't think it was off screen. I don't think it's happened yet.
Well, especially when we get to a line where Tennant says, "There's only one reason I would tell somebody my name.
It's only one time I could." Yeah.
And you're like, well, then what is that? Like we want to know what that is, and we still don't really know why.
Well, and all the hints about the Medusa's Cascade. All the references to I sealed the rift in time and space when I was a kid, 90 years old, in the Medusa's Cascade. The Master says that doctor of old who sealed the rift in time and space at Medusa's Cascade. And then you get the soothsayer in Pompeii who says even your name is an affectation. Your real name is hidden in the cascading Medusa. So the idea that somehow his name is tied to that.
Right.
So, How does that fit into? There's only one reason I could tell you my name, only one time that I ever would. Yeah. And then the prophecy about Trenzalore is very, it's vague. It's prophecy, but on the fields of Trenzalore at the fall of the 11th, and then there's that bit where no man can speak forcefully or fail to answer.
Mm-hmm.
A question will be asked, and there's none of that really happened.
No.
With the fall of the 11th, there was no fall of the 11th.
Well,
there was no reference to it.
He did fall to the planet, but that was that's
possibly
like
be.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah.
That'd be like saying he tripped over a rock, and whoops! When the Doctor trips over time, he regenerates. No, that's no.
He trips over a clock. There's a clock on the floor, and he trips over.
Whoops! Wah wah wah.
He takes a trip in time. Yuck yuck.
He takes a trip in time. He becomes his 12th incarnation.
Yeah.
Or 13th.
What did you think of the Whispermen?
Okay. Shh! Be silent. The silents are here. Shh! The Whispermen are silenced. Shh! what is his deal with people being quiet?
Right.
Even early Moffat episodes, silence in the library. Shh, you're in a library. The silence. Shh. And I don't know. He
doesn't even want you to blink. Like, not even blinking. Don't blink.
Don't blink. Don't say anything. Just sit there, shut up, and watch.
Watch my show. Don't say anything.
Suddenly the silence makes sense.
Yes.
Maybe
as a kid, he had a really loud household. He just wanted some peace and quiet. And this is his way of getting it.
Maybe he was yelled at. Everyone always told him, be quiet.
Yeah.
Shh, silence. Ooh, silence. I don't know. The Whispermen are an awful lot like those, whatever the heck they were from the Rings of Akaten. They're a monster for the sake of having a monster.
Right.
I feel like they were there because they needed a trailer bit.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, I mean, really, they were just empty bodies for the great intelligence to go into,
right?
And then they could also reach in and grab your heart or whatever.
Apparently,
yeah.
Best Strax line in the entire show. But we're unarmed. Don't divulge our military secrets. just it was the Strax.
Yeah, I liked him fighting the guy at the beginning. Like, I did not expect that in the finale. That's such a silly moment. I didn't expect it. Oh man, It was really funny.
A, it's hilarious because that's exactly what Strax would do, and B, really, that's the scene we got. Not River learning the Doctor's name, Strax fighting an Irishman in a bar.
Yeah.
Damn it. Sometimes I'm sorry. I know. I'm really onto this tonight.
I liked the Doctor. He was like sort of playing a hide and seek or whatever with the kids. Like, they tricked him, and then he's like, "The little Daleks."
Yeah.
As it used it as a curse, It's hilarious.
This whole episode was good. It really was.
It really was. I mean, I really loved it, and then the end just blew my freaking mind. But yeah,
the CGI, the special effects were very well done. There was only a couple of times I went, I don't buy it. When the second Doctor went running past, A, because it looked really bad,
it was
and B,
the cheesiest part, I think.
It was. And him running, I know that scene. That's from the 50th. It's from the 25th anniversary from the Five Doctors. That happens, him and the Brigadier are running. So, like, that's not the scene at all, and I know that. I can see that.
Yeah.
But when what's-his-face, when the Great Intelligence, when, like, the Doctor passes him in the car and Bessie, or when he's standing there behind the Fourth Doctor,
right?
It was just so bad.
They did it. You know what? They did a better job putting Clara in there.
Yes.
But then you're right. When the Great Intelligence went in, and then it was like he was in all the places. That It was almost like it was just a cardboard cutout of him.
Right.
Standing there.
It's kind of, you could say they probably just spent all their money and they didn't have a guy, so they hired like an intern to do that last bit. Or you could say it's an homage to the old show where you could see the zipper on the freaking monster suit. So maybe they meant it to be a little cheesy.
Yeah.
It was funny. I can name almost every one of those episodes. Is that terrible?
No, that's awesome.
I have no idea what the Sixth Doctor episode was, though. That one blows my mind. I can't. He just walks behind her in a corridor that doesn't make any sense.
Maybe he just walked by.
Right.
In the background. It looked like they were on the TARDIS, like the new TARDIS, but I doubt that was.
Right.
I doubt she was somehow on the TARDIS.
It could have been the stuff from the trial of the Time Lord when he was in the Matrix. Mm-hmm. So it could have been that stuff.
Yeah.
The Seventh Doctor hanging off the edge. That's the story. He meets Ace, and she's dressed up just like Ace, which I thought was really cute.
Yeah.
And clever. Seeing Peter Davidson's Doctor. Floating there.
Uh-huh.
There's so many good moments. I wish we had seen them at least try to put her into episodes with Eccleston, Tennant, or into the movie.
Right.
I would have liked that.
All we really get, and this did kind of make me mad. I mean, I love classic stuff. That's great. But it's like, do some of the other stuff too, especially Eccleston. Here's what I think about Eccleston, is he really doesn't feel like coming, he doesn't want to come back for the 50th or whatever.
Yeah.
He doesn't really want to do stuff. It doesn't mean you can't use, you should be able to use all the old clips you want without his permission.
Right.
So it's like, so do that, because that's the best you're going to get from Eccleston is the old clips, but they almost don't use them enough. You only get like a guy in a leather coat running by when she's at the very end, when she's sort of in the dark part of of his timeline or whatever. You see the guy in the leather coat running by. You see Tennant running by. There's actually a shot where it looks like Clara or one of the Clara clones, I'm going to call them.
Okay. Good term.
She looks like she's dressed kind of like Oswin a little bit, but she's at the library. It's obviously, I think they're at the library, and you can see he's standing there looking off into the distance. I thought that was kind of interesting. That maybe she was there, or maybe she was one of the people who got sucked up into the thing. Ooh, and then was rescued when River died, or something. But yeah, that's all we got for 10. And then 8 was sort of jammed into.
You see 8 run past him or past her.
Right. Well, he was also sort of jammed into 2's thing. It was like the same scene.
Yeah.
Like you see 8 run past, and then
you see 2 run past.
And then you see 2 run past, and then that silly run he did in the big fur coat.
He really does run like that, though, in a fur coat. So, that was 2.
He doesn't. He doesn't run as cool. Scene. He doesn't run as cool as the new guys do.
The old ones didn't run. They just sort of sauntered everywhere they went. It was British.
Yeah, I just watched First Doctor one where his friends are like in trouble, and he instead of using the TARDIS, he like walks, like they get taken to Paris or whatever, and he's like far away, and he just walks there like from really far. He's like, I'm sure they'll be all right, and he's like walking. I'm like, they're in danger, man.
He was young. He didn't know.
He didn't know.
It wouldn't be until the turn of the millennium in the movie that he ever started really running.
Yeah.
He started doing a lot of jumping around with explosions when he was 7th Doctor. That was because of Ace. Ace had explosives.
Oh, there you go.
I know you haven't seen much of this stuff, or you haven't seen any of the stuff with Ace, but I'm going to say this now. In the old show, there are only so many of them that were really awesome, like badass companions. Most of them screamed and got kidnapped a lot, even the guys. But you had, even Romana wasn't as hoss as some of the others. But you had, the 4th Doctor had the most, Sarah Jane, who was totally in your face, and I loved it. And then you had Leela, the cave girl, who was she had a dagger, and she was always ready to kill someone. And then you had Tegan, who would just scream at you. And then you had Ace, and Ace came with explosives. And Ace was giddy about throwing explosives at everything, constantly. She just wanted to blow up stuff, and it was so funny.
Let's talk about...
That was the end of that thought.
Yeah. Let's talk about the Great Intelligence has this line where he talks about he'll have many other names: the Storm, the Beast, the Valyard, and I know there's more about we have some things about the Valyard at the end. I thought that was kind of cool bringing that up.
Well, you saw the Storm, which is something the Daleks used to call him, the oncoming storm. Yeah. So perhaps the Daleks knew or had experienced that in their timeline of what he would become.
Mm-hmm. And they said something about the Beast too, so that might be a new thing we might hear later.
Yeah, I've never heard it referenced before.
Yeah,
but the Valyard, that the Great Intelligence knew about that.
Mm-hmm.
For those out there who don't watch the old show, the Valyard is an evil incarnation of the Doctor, who comes to pass during the regeneration from his 12th to his final. It is all the negative and evil inside the Doctor coalesced into one being, which most of us were really giddy when we saw the Dream Lord a couple seasons back, because the Dream Lord reminds us a lot of how the Valyard works. If you ever want to watch anything with the Valyard, there's the one story that took about a season, Trial of the Time Lord. It's a sixth Doctor, and he's a very small part of it, but he's there. And you get kind of this confrontation where the Doctor and the Valyard talk, and so we're led to believe that there's going to be this point in time where all the negative, all the evil from the Doctor is going to become a being, much like the Master, but it's the Valyard. So it's interesting that the Great Intelligence would reference that.
Yeah, that's kind of neat. Let's see. So they're walking through the TARDIS, I think they're walking through it, the big TARDIS, and all of a sudden Clara like remembers the events from Journey to the Center of the TARDIS, which is like, that's a big deal, because it's like, okay, does she remember what his name is now? Like, did she, did maybe that pop back into her head too? Maybe that'll come up later.
Oh, that's a good point, actually, because we don't know what she remembers, because you get that, and then almost immediately it's getting inside to see his timeline, and then she jumps in. Which
it was very sudden. He was there, and then all of a sudden, they were walking, they were kind of sneaking in, and then it cut to this scene where the Great Intelligence was talking to Strax and Jenny and Vastra, and then like all of a sudden the Doctor goes, "Here I am." He just like appeared.
he was late for the shoot.
Yeah.
Hello, I'm here.
Yeah.
It feels like there were a couple scenes in there that maybe were. It does feel like maybe there's some deleted scenes there.
Yeah. Maybe.
Come on, full season set. Come on, full season set. Love of God, give me a season 7 set.
Yeah.
Don't.
And the funniest
breakup sets don't have.
Yeah. The funniest thing I think about this episode, not intentionally funny, was where all the Whispermen were like killing his friends, and he's like, "Say your name and open the door," and then he's like, "Please," and then the doors open. Everybody at that moment for a second thought his name was Please.
Right. Everyone stopped and said, did he say what I thought he said?
He's like, wait, is his name Please?
I did love Strax when the guy puts his hand inside of him to get the heart or whatever, and Strax says, "Unhand me, sir." And I'm just, yes. It was almost as bad as when Anakin Skywalker cuts off Count Dooku's hands, and he says, "Jedi's not supposed to kill an unarmed man." He literally unarmed him.
Yeah.
So.
I also liked Strax's face when he the whole scene, the whole thing with River, the farewell kiss. He's like, God knows how that must have looked, and then it like cuts to the three of them, and Strax's face is like, oh. That was really funny.
He gets the absolute best, man.
Yeah.
They write him the best jokes.
Yeah. I recently rewatched The Snowman, and oh man, he's hilarious.
Do you want me to get the gauntlets? Yeah.
Okay.
Right,
so you want me to get the memory worm?
The memory worm. That was it.
Help! I've been run over by a cab. That was my favorite. Okay, so one big thing about this sort of stepping into the light, basically. Basically, it splits you into a million pieces, and all these copies of you go throughout the Doctor's timeline. But River says they're not you; they're just copies of you. You're not controlling them, but
echoes.
It's almost like. But then, how did the Great Intelligence do that? How did he know that? Well, if I step in here, my copies are going to rewrite his timeline.
Wow.
I guess it's like if you think about it really hard as you what you want to do when you get in there, then your copies will do it.
Yeah.
So it's like Clara thinking, I need to save the Doctor. So when she goes in there, all her copies sort of have this destiny to sort of meet the Doctor. And what we come to find out like in the sort of in the beginning monologue and in sort of in the end too when they repeat it, is that she's tried to reach out to him and help him, but she's been unsuccessful until the snowman. Like, and he's sort of the first one to actually.
No, that's not at all what she said. Sometimes he doesn't hear her.
Right.
But she's always there to help him.
Well,
I don't
okay,
think she failed at any point in time.
No, you're right. You're right.
Him.
That is what I mean. That he's never
because
actually
she does,
seen her.
and she does talk to him several times. She talks to the first doctor.
Yes.
Tells him which TARDIS to take.
Which I love that.
Yeah, that was really
brilliant.
cute.
Yeah.
And it looked like the seventh Doctor saw her. So I mean, it's. I just think like we saw a couple of episodes with her, obviously because they filmed them. But I feel like she was involved more in his life. This episode really presupposes that the Great Intelligence is the reason the Doctor faces everything he faces. Uh-huh. That there is a darker destiny or force, manipulating the Doctor's life.
One of the great theories here that I read was that in the Snowman, when he gives Clara the key, she starts crying and she says, "I don't know why I'm crying." There's this great theory that the reason she's crying is because the Doctor finally reached out to her. And she finally sort of made contact with him. And the reason she's crying is because she doesn't know it yet. It's sort of a subconscious thing. Mm-hmm. And that there's the reason she's crying is because one of her copies, it's like Clara is coming through. Like finally she reached out to her. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then the same with Oswin too. She's so excited about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and that's a good point, actually. Yeah. that's a good theory.
No, I really like. Yeah, when I read that, I really liked it. Because from what I saw, it seemed that maybe the Doctor saw her, but maybe only the Snowman and the Asylum of the Daleks and the
closer he got to actually meeting the real her. Yeah.
Yeah.
We're
sort of the only ones who he actually maybe talked with and interacted with, and the others maybe saved him and maybe he didn't know, I just got lucky or something. And but most of the time he may have like the third one, he's in the car and she's like, "Doctor," and he kind of glances in the mirror, but I don't think then he stopped the car and got out and go, "Oh, hi, who are you? I'm the third Doctor." Yeah. And he just saw her "Oh, what was that?" And maybe that her distracting him in the car helped.
Maybe it's a lot like what the silence aliens were. When you look away, you forget them.
Oh, right, yeah.
Maybe that's a big part of it.
Uh-huh.
But then when you finally get to Matt Smith, when he starts seeing her on a bunch of his adventures, then suddenly it's like he's so close that, the reverberations, he can actually interact with her, and that starts getting him, wondering what's going on.
I like that.
Because she talks directly to the first Doctor.
Right.
There is no way he goes his entire life, forgets that face.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, you could easily say, well, he doesn't remember where he knows her from.
First Doctor was pretty arrogant.
Yes, he is. Yeah. But there's no way the girl that tells him which TARDIS to take, in the back of his mind, it'll always be there. Mm-hmm. And when he sees her again during the Snowman, you'd think he'd be like, "No, wait a minute. I know you from somewhere."
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
there's something about her, yeah.
There's something. Well, maybe that's what he was doing. Maybe that was. Mm-hmm. Maybe every time he's like, "She's the impossible girl." So.
Yeah. So I actually liked that explanation. I didn't feel like it was cheap or anything, and it made sense, and it wasn't. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I didn't feel
it was
like
also really.
I didn't feel like it was dumb or anything. It was touching.
That is, and I think that's a very good observation. I did want to point out, I loved seeing Gallifrey.
Oh, me too. And not in ruins.
Citadel of the Time Lords. Yeah. Well, I loved... Because Gallifrey, in the old stuff, it's so... There's so much just... It's like the Romans, and this constant backstabbing and fighting amongst each other, and, political, very political. And so, just... It cuts to these two dudes working.
Yeah. Working in the TARDIS.
What's going on?
Yeah.
Who would steal a broken TARDIS? Like, it's these two guys.
Uh-huh.
And I just, that would be the normal everyday Time Lords.
Mm-hmm. And then she's just some girl Time Lord who's like, or Time Lady or whatever, who's just there. Maybe she works on the TARDISes too, or whatever. Like, and she's just she was just a TARDIS repair woman who said, "Hey, take this one."
Yeah, don't take that one.
I like how the plain TARDISes just look like, or TARDI. I don't know how you say what's plural for TARDIS. But
I don't know.
Yeah, I like how, but when they're plain and when they don't have the cloaking device on them, they're just like almost like an Easter Island kind of just stone cylinder.
Yeah,
with a door, and he flies off in it. Yeah.
Well, because they're supposed to blend in. They can become anything.
Yeah. So just
the chameleon circuit.
When it's not on, when it's just plain, it's like not even a cool looking spaceship. It's like a stone
it's
pillar.
It's a cylinder.
Yeah.
Well, the few times it ever did change, or you saw another TARDIS, it always seemed to take the form of a Roman pillar.
Yeah.
It's its natural shape.
Let me see. Okay, so let's talk about River. There's sort of this whole thing, like she's following them along. She's sort of helping Clara. And there's this whole thing with this grave. It's like a secret entrance to the tomb.
Right.
So the big thing there is like, well, how did that grave get there? Did River like put that there somehow? She knew he was coming, or you know what I mean?
Maybe the people that buried the Doctor put it there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
like something from his life that he might look for if he ever comes here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like if it said Susan's name, he'd be like, "What?"
Yeah. And then this whole idea of he can see her the whole time, like he's. Yeah.
That touched me when he said, "I thought it would hurt," and she, it's just no me. I thought it would hurt me too much, and that's just sweet. That's
because he's usually with River, he's usually all Mr. Cool. It's all she's all I love you, and he's all like Han Solo. Yeah, I know it, baby. Shut up. But
I was a little more Bender than Han Solo.
Yeah, shut up, baby. I know it. But
he just shuts the door on Lucy Liu.
Yeah. But here,
mid-sentence,
he actually
yes,
I love that part. But here, he's actually like, sort of. It's almost because he knows it's the end. He knows this is kind of the last time he can see her.
Mm-hmm. Well, then he knows which river it is.
Yeah, he knows it's. You've already died. You're in the database. You should have faded by now, or whatever he said. Mm-hmm. So he's really he sort of lets his emotions out here for her. One thing that was interesting is at the end she says, "Well, if Clara is in there," and I'll tell you what I took it to mean, but a lot of people think, "Oh, maybe River's coming back." This sort of the spoilers at the end. She says, "Well, if Clara is in there, which assuming if you go in there you die, because that's what was said." She goes, "Then how am I still talking to you?" Mm-hmm. She says spoilers, and I took that to mean is like, oh, Clara's still alive. He's like, oh, I can go rescue her or whatever.
Right.
But a lot of other people said, spoilers. Maybe she's not. We haven't seen the last of her yet. She's not quite dead or something.
Well,
which I don't know.
I mean, it's always possible.
I think it was a good ending. I thought it was a good ending for her. And,
yes.
and not that I was sick of her, but I think to do any more, would kind of start to cheapen her character. I like the story, the rounded story of her. We've gotten sort of all these parts filled in that we need to know about her, and now it's just like you're just be throwing her in there for other stuff just because you like River.
Well, maybe, but like I said, there's still questions that have to do with River.
Right.
And I'll say this. I don't think Alex Kingston's story is over as River. I think that's the end of River. That's her final thing that she does.
Right.
As a character, timeline-wise, I feel like we're still going to see younger versions of her.
That's possible. Yes,
there's still more of her to tell.
Well, and you could always bring her back for, the 12th Doctor and the 13th Doctor or whatever. She could be a character that comes back.
Yeah, well, and she even said to David Tennant, "I've never seen you so young." Well, so she had her Doctor, the 11th Doctor, but maybe she knows 12 and 13, so she knows the older Doctor.
Right.
I feel like Alex Kingston will be back. I feel like her story isn't over. There are too many unanswered questions that haven't been addressed.
I feel like she'll at least be back for Matt Smith's final episode. Like it'll be kind of like a Rose thing where the Doctor went to see Rose at the very end, I feel like she'll at least be there somehow, if not, just like a message from her from beyond the grave.
Yeah. No, an earlier version.
Yeah,
she could see him regenerate.
Or something. I think there'll be something.
And that's we'll get to that in our next podcast. But I have some theories on his regeneration. But wait, I just for time's sake too, I just want to move on to the most important part of the episode.
Yeah, I think that's all I had for that. Yeah.
Yeah. It's time to get to it. So, apparently, there's another Doctor.
So I was like, what? Okay.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. Doctor Who is really good at being mysterious, but they usually wrap everything up in a nice, neat little bow by the end of the season. There's usually not a cliffhanger, okay?
Right.
At the end of the season.
Or
except
not
for
one
maybe he regenerated, which happened in the first, it's happened a couple times.
Or, there's a bride in the TARDIS. Or, the Titanic. Or...
Right. Well, I don't mean, those are sort of cliffhangers, but they're sort of just teasers.
I regenerated into another person.
Yeah, they're just sort of teasers for the next episode.
Right.
This is like...
Actually, it seems to be an awful lot that the end of seasons are heavy on the mysteries.
Okay,
and
all right.
Cliffhangers.
I just felt like this was huge. This is like a big plot development. The others were just like, I guess the next story is going to be about the Titanic.
Right. I felt like perhaps they shouldn't have ended season 7 on this episode. Perhaps the ending of season 7 should officially be the 50th and then the Christmas special. So maybe... bridging those, getting those out faster,
right?
Or however it's done. Clearly, this is a huge deal.
It's a big deal. Okay. Here,
so there are a couple of
okay,
but here's but no, hold on. There are theories out there on the web, and we're going to talk about them here in a second. But I just want to say this. I want to be the one on record to say this. All of you all who are out there with these theories, you're stupid. Okay? You're idiots. No. Just no. And I'm going to explain why once we're done talking about it. But seriously, stop posting. Okay.
Okay, I'm ready.
I'm alienating everyone on this one.
Yeah, we're going to have no listeners left. Okay, there's a theory that I've seen where this is either like the end of... It's because of how he's dressed, okay? He's sort of got on this sort of poofy shirt like the 8th Doctor, but then he also has like a leather jacket over it like the 9th Doctor. So there's this theory that he's kind of, maybe what happened from the regeneration between the 8 and 9. There's a theory that maybe he's 8. He's like the end of 8, or something. I don't. A lot of it has to do with 8 and 9. Okay.
Right. And that is specifically. And I like to point out that is specifically because continuity-wise, that is the only unknown era.
Right.
We don't see 8's adventures, nor do we see much of the Time War and how the Doctor becomes 9.
Yeah, and it must be something too that the 11th Doctor knows about, because he doesn't know that much about his future, so it can't really maybe be something that is from the future. You know what I mean?
Right.
It has to be something that's happened already.
So the two big theories are he's either the Valiard or some future version of the Doctor, which is stupid because the Doctor knows what he did. How would the Doctor know about his future? So stop writing that stuff. Or that he is a version or a regeneration of the Doctor in between 8 and 9, so that we have been systematically miscalculating the numbers of Doctors.
Right. I am not a fan of that theory because, 9 is 9 and 10 is 10. I don't want to have to go back and be like, well, he was actually 10 and he's actually 11.
Yeah. They're not going to do that. They're not going to suddenly say, and here's the other thing too. He says, what I did, I had no choice. Right? That's what John Hurt says. And then I did for sanity and for peace. Okay? And then, but not in the name of the Doctor. Which is
Quincy.
Right.
Yeah.
It's Quincy Hitler.
Yeah.
It's
Quincy Hitler.
With two T's.
Okay.
Man, we're down to one fan now, and see if I can piss her off. What I'm saying is, he has 9 and 10, and even 11 talk about the Time War, and they talk about what they did, and they don't, the Ninth Doctor makes a reference, I have no choice, when he's rebuilding the device to stop the Daleks in the year 200,100. But he's referring to the Daleks. Anytime Tennant has referred to what he did, don't you see that's why I had to stop them, what they were going to do in the Time War. He accepts the responsibility of that. He never once says that it wasn't the Doctor's choice.
It seems like it has to do something with the Time War, because it sounds right, like peace, and I had to do it for peace and sanity to keep, to stop.
So,
but it was something horrible. Yeah.
But this is where I say, stop writing because you're stupid. Not you. Everybody else is writing this stuff. You're dumb. Knock it off. Here's why. Why would there be a version of the Doctor in the Time War that's never referenced? Why would his actions cause him not to be the Doctor? A big deal with the Doctor, the name of the Doctor, this episode, the name of the Doctor, has to do with not his actual name, but that he takes on the persona of the Doctor. That everything he does to try to fix, to heal. The man who wants to heal.
He has this line where he says, it's not so much the name, it's a promise you make.
Promise you make to yourself.
And he's the one who broke the promise.
So, here's what I have to say to all this. I don't think it has to do with the Time War. I don't think it has to do with a future version of him. I think John Hurt is the original incarnation of the Doctor. I think he is the one, when he was 90 years old, who sealed a rift in time and space at the Medusa's Cascade. I think he's the reason that the Doctor had to run away from Gallifrey.
I like that.
I feel like if it's I mean, and it might not be. Okay, yes, it's always possible they're going to write it that it's a mysterious regeneration in the middle of
No, Matt, you're stupid.
You're stupid. Stop talking. But I just think that's too easy. I think it's too simple. I think if everybody on the internet is able to figure it out, then that's not what Stephen Moffat is writing. Because, let's be honest here, he's better than all of us.
He's very, very good.
So he is. So I'm putting my money on the odd choice, saying I think it's the very first incarnation of the Doctor. He makes the promise to himself, but then he can't keep it. He makes a mistake when he's a kid, when he's young, and he spends the rest of his life on the run trying to make up for it.
I think that is very solid and sound, and I will follow you blindly.
Watch me be wrong, and it's the Valyard. John Hurt isn't the Doctor. He's Jim Valyard.
Quincy Hitler Valyard.
Quincy Hitler Valyard. Ted Smith Valyard.
Crazy Bill Skaldak Valyard.
Maybe Bill Skaldak sold him his first TARDIS.
There you go.
Come on down.
Crazy Bill Skaldak. Discount TARDIS warehouse.
Due to a crazy inventory glitch, I am stuck with thousands of TARDISes, and I'm passing the savings on to you. Bill Skaldak.
We've got TARDISes with messed up navigational systems. Cracked windows.
I'd be crazy to sell this off to you. But that's because I'm crazy Bill Skaldak. Crazy like a fox. So, anyway. Moving on.
I think what's nice is we won't have to dwell on this for too long. Well, at least till November, because I think he's going to be in the 50th. We know this from pictures and stuff that we've seen of
and that they said the Doctor will return in the 50th.
Well, yeah. John Hurt.
Oh, okay.
We'll see. He's going to be in this. I think he's going to have a part to play in this 50th anniversary.
I think so too.
So, I think it's just going to be kind of one of these short mysteries. I don't know if this is setting up a big long thing for the next season or whatever. That's my theory on that. Is that I think it's something that's going to be answered soon.
November's a long time away.
Well, not that. I just mean that in the next episode.
How far away is November?
Let's see. This is June, July, August, September. 6 months? 5 or 6 months?
6 months?
Yeah.
That's nothing. Once I had to wait a whole year for November.
How did I know?
Sorry.
I knew you were going to do that. I just had a feeling.
My son watches The Muppets 3 times a day. It's just one of my favorite Fozzie.
I love that movie. That's my favorite line, too, in that movie.
Fozzie gets all the good ones.
He does.
No, Jason Segel gets the best one. With, we just gotta drive to Paris and get her. And then Amy Adams, you can't drive to Paris, Walter. And Jason Segel, yeah, it's way too far. That's the best line.
That's the good one. So yeah, this is a big thing. This mystery here with John Hurt as the Doctor is what it says. It comes up with sort of a thing at the title at the end.
Mm-hmm.
John Hurt as the Doctor. So yeah, it's kind of.
Well, you know what the worst part of it all is that he doesn't just have to face himself in the 50th. He has to face himself, and then he has to face himself.
Yeah, and who knows what else?
Who knows? Quincy who?
Quincy knows. So
I'm excited.
I'm very excited.
Seriously, this is so many questions, and Stephen Moffat really is it's a roller coaster. I'm so excited.
Yeah, what was funny? At the end of the episode, my wife was like, so did they get out of there? That's all she was like, so did they escape? Or it's
implied?
It's implied that all he had to do was go in there and grab her. And there's this whole business with the leaf. Maybe he uses the leaf as a signal or something.
But did you notice
that he can find her with? Yeah.
Well, he's talking to her, and he sends her the leaf. At first, she starts walking towards John Hurt's direction.
Oh, yeah. You're right.
And then he says, I'm over here, or whatever he says, come to me, follow the sound of my voice. She turns and gets to him.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe he saw that she was headed towards this other version of him that he didn't want her to see.
Right. Well, then she ended up, who talking?
Well, she says, "Who's that?" And then he says, "Well, let's get out of here. Don't worry about that. Let's just go."
Yeah.
She's like, "But wait, I saw all of you, but that's not him."
He goes, "Don't you get it? That is me. It's me."
It's the day I went to Bill Skaldeck's Discount TARDIS Emporium.
It was a horrible day.
It was a horrible day. He sold me a TARDIS with no navigational system. It was just 4 walls of cardboard. There wasn't even an engine in here. It's drawn on a piece of paper.
It was the same size on the inside.
Crazy Bill Skaldeck. He's got a deal for you.
This TARDIS is smaller on the inside.
Be the first of your friends to have a smaller on the inside TARDIS.
Oh, man.
You'll be the envy of Time Lords across Gallifrey.
I just like to imagine, like, an ice warrior, like, as a
In a suit
used
and tie.
TARDIS salesman on Gallifrey. He's got, like, a cowboy hat on.
He's wearing one of those white shirts with just the black slim tie.
Yeah.
But he's still got his armor. It's over his armor.
Yeah.
like when Strax wears a suit.
Suit, yeah. Oh.
He's got a cowboy hat.
Yeah, a cowboy hat. Maybe a bolo tie, like a...
Come on down.
Come on down.
Bill Skaldeck's used TARDISes.
This is going
the
somewhere.
best TARDIS Emporium in the 7 systems.
Yeah. Well, I hate to say it, but there's no, oh my god, this promo, because there's nothing. They didn't give us anything.
Nothing.
No.
They don't like us.
No.
Well, did you watch the little bit that they gave us because nobody shared it online? The interview with the 2 of them?
Oh, yes. Yes, I did.
With Matt
Smith and Dave Tennant.
David
Yeah,
Tennant.
we can talk about the 50th a little bit, what we think.
Right.
That's kind of the promo for the next
Well, yeah.
the next episode.
Okay, hold on. So it's time for... Oh my god, that 50th.
The promo! I don't know what this thing's going to be about. I'm assuming he's going to go back into his timeline and see Ten and Rose, because we know they're going to be there.
It's Ten and Rose and Ten's TARDIS, and we see him a lot. The pictures we've seen are with him and Tennant near his TARDIS.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm wondering if he goes to confront the version of him, right?
Mm-hmm.
That he sees, John Hurt's Doctor.
Yeah.
And it crosses over with Tennant's timeline, or maybe John Hurt's Doctor runs away, and, in the chase, they bump into the other. I don't know. I just don't know.
And Ten helps or something. There's also from the pictures I've seen and some of the clips of like them making the stuff. Kate Lethbridge Stewart is going to be in this too.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's sort of I guess she's an intern at UNIT or something, or she's a scientist or something at UNIT who is like...
It's early.
Huh?
Oh, no. Oh, not Kate. Someone else's.
No, there's somebody else. Yeah, there's somebody else who I guess works for Kate, who's like a huge The Doctor nerd. Like, she knows, like, she's been following him. He's basically a Whovian.
Are you telling me that British intelligence has a huge Doctor Who fan working for them?
Oh,
That's
do.
crazy.
No,
That's crazy.
Like, she has there's a whole joke. She's got like a big scarf on. Like, I guess she's a fan of his work. She's like been following his time. His time working with UNIT and all this stuff. So she's like a huge fan of him. So we have this character, and we also have I think Queen Elizabeth is going to be here too.
Liz the First, who's still waiting in a glade to elope with him.
Yeah. and then Zygons, which is the other thing.
Look like the worst possible aliens to have ever.
Here's what I think. I think the Zygons and Liz the First. I think maybe that's something that Tennant's doing.
That's a good one.
Like at the time, and then so 11 sort of bumps into this as he's doing whatever he's doing with John Hurt. And
Tennant's on his way to get married to Liz the First.
Oh, there you go. But he's
and then
Zygon
on his
troubles.
like literally, there's this whole ceremony that's about to happen, and the doctor's like, okay, well, I guess it's time for me to go marry Liz the First. And then in comes 11. He's like, pardon me, I need to borrow you for a moment. Yoink.
That'll be good. I wonder if this is just going to be an hour long, or if it's going to be longer.
Oh my god! It'll open with that whole situation that it's about to happen. The Zygons are attacking and everything. Everyone's going crazy, and then the TARDIS shows up, and the doctor's like, "What's the TARDIS doing here?" And the doctor opens the door, and he steps out, and he says, "I need your help, Doctor. Come with me." And Rose is like, "Doctor, who's that?" And he goes, "That's the Doctor." And then everybody just at the same time, Doctor Who.
Like a big crowd of people. Doctor Who.
It's the audience.
Yeah. Yeah. Then it's like. Hit the theme song. Yeah.
He was so funny. How funny was he? Yeah. Doctor Who.
Yeah, I wonder if this is going to be longer than just 40 minutes.
I don't think so. I think it's a 50-minute. I think it's just an hour, if I remember reading correctly.
Oh yeah, okay.
Time to pull up the good old Google.
Well, yeah, it would be cool if it was like a 2-hour special or something. You know what I mean?
It won't be though.
But they don't do that. I mean, that's the thing. That was the thing with Lost. It was like the finales were always like the finale of Lost, the end, it was like 2.5 hours. Like a 2.5 hour television event took over. So I guess this just might be, that's the thing, is like, it seems like it should be a huge deal. Well, the 50th anniversary, but you're like, oh, it's just going to be this episode where he runs into 10.
Looks like it's only 60 minutes.
Oh, well, that's, then it may be an hour and a half, like on television, commercials.
Right.
Yeah.
They did film it in 3D, and they are going to air it in theaters in England.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I did hear about that too. That's interesting. I thought at first maybe they're gonna like do those things where you get your 3D glasses with your free Domino's your Domino's order in preparation for Doctor Who, and then you watch it at home with the 3D glasses on.
Right.
Like in the 90s with TGIF, where they had the 3D night.
Here you go.
All the episodes are in 3D.
The special will feature the return of the Daleks, the Cybermen, and the Zygons.
Sweet. I've been waiting for some Dalek action.
Yeah, there's not a lot of Daleks lately.
No, I mean there were Asylum of the Daleks, and then that was it. Yeah. Which, yeah, okay, accept that. But I just want to know. I want to know what it is with the Daleks, because they don't know
the Doctor.
They don't know who he is now. So I'd like to see that. I'd like to see what that entails. Like, what's the deal with it?
She like you see the Daleks like knocking on a door, and it opens, and it's a Cyberman and like a apron or something, and the Cyberman goes, "Yes," and the Dalek goes, "We do not know who this man is," and they like hold up a picture, and they're like, "That is the Doctor." What is a doctor? Doctor, what?
They're like, "Thank you. That has been driving me crazy. It's been on the tip of my tongue." Here's another interesting thing.
Yes.
Season 2, we had this whole Cybermen versus Daleks, and that was like the coolest thing ever.
Right?
And then now I feel like, since we talked about this in the last episode, these new Cybermen are almost unstoppable.
Yeah.
They're almost like a plague, basically. You have to just wipe out the whole thing to make sure they don't spread.
You have to destroy the entire universe.
Yeah.
All of time and space must be destroyed.
If the Cybermen met the Daleks now, I feel like the Daleks would lose, you know?
Yeah?
I mean,
Maybe that's a good point. Ooh. Well,
they seemed pretty almost equally matched. But then almost not. It seemed like the Daleks would win because they only had 4 of them.
Well, and the Daleks, there was no Cybermen weapon that could destroy the Daleks in that particular story.
Yeah.
But these new Cybermen adapt just as well.
They
They're
could
like Borg.
upgrade in progress.
So
And then boom.
maybe they could.
Yeah. That would be interesting to get them together again. I would hope that maybe someday in the future that happens again.
Well, you see them both together during the Pandorica opens. Or the big...
yeah, but they're working together.
Well, yeah. As much as working together, they could possibly be working together.
Right. They're just standing next to each other. They just kind of agree on this one. I guess you're right.
As much as we hate you, we hate the Doctor more. The Doctor's face is an awful lot like your ass. Delete, exterminate.
Oh, that is it.
Oh, the gauntlet is thrown, and he takes off his hand. Cling! Just throws it down.
Well, I think that's all I got.
Yeah, I don't know if I could be any funnier tonight.
I just meant, well, that too, but I just meant as far as this episode goes and anything else that's coming up. Stay tuned, folks, because we're gonna try to have regular. I won't say regular episodes, but at least every couple of weeks we're gonna have an episode coming out. We're gonna talk about some things. I can tease you for the next one. We're gonna talk about Matt Smith and his exit, because it has been announced. So
yeah,
we will talk about that next episode. So stay tuned for that.
How he's about to regenerate into Rupert Grint.
Yeah, yeah, that might be.
Ginger.
So yeah.
All right, guys. Hey, this is Matt from the Vortex,
and this is Taylor
saying, "Stay classy, San Diego."
Stay classy, Vortex.
Bill Skaldak wants to wish you a Merry Christmas. Come on down for all his Christmas specials. Regeneration,
Christmas
no
specials.
problem.
Yeah.
Low on regeneration, low on cash.
Low on cash.
Regenerate into a new TARDIS today. I'm going to be thinking about that for days.
Trade in your old broken down TARDIS
for this, top of the line. Chameleon circuit works.
Most of the time.
Most of the time.
All right, well, we'll see you guys.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
See ya. Bye.
Cue the music.
What?